So I stumbled across a very interesting article last night, and I just want to read it to you guys and then share my thoughts. So the title is South Korea Politician Blames Women for Rising Male Self Deletions. A politician in South Korea is being criticized for making dangerous and unsubstantiated comments after linking a rise in male self deletions to the increasingly, quote, dominant role of women in society. In a report, Seoul City Councilor Kim Ki-duk argued women's increased participation in the workforce over the years had made it harder for men to get jobs and to find women who want to marry them. He said the country had recently began to change into a quote female dominant society and that this might partly be responsible for an increase in male self-deletion attempts. South Korea has one of the highest self-deletion rates among the world's richest countries, but also one of the worst records on gender equality. Councillor Kim's comments have been criticized as the latest in a series of out of touch remarks made by male politicians. Councillor Kim from the Democratic Party arrived at his assessment when analyzing the data on the number of self deletion attempts made at bridges along Seoul's Han River. The report, published on the City Council's official website, showed that the number of unaliving self deletion attempts along the river has risen from 430 in 2018 to 1,035 in 2023, and of those trying to take their lives, the proportion who were men had climbed from 67% to 77%. Self deletion prevention experts have expressed concern over Mr. Kim's report. It is dangerous and unwise to make claims like this without sufficient evidence, Song In Han, a mental health professor at Seoul's Yonsei University, told the BBC. He pointed out that globally more men take their lives than women. In many countries, including the UK, it's actually the biggest killer of men under 50. Even so, Professor Song said the reason behind the sharp rise in men attempting self deletion in Seoul needed to be scientifically studied, adding that it was very regrettable that the counselor had made it about gender conflicts. In South Korea, there is a substantial gulf between the number of men and women in full time employment, with women disproportionately working temporary or part time jobs. The gender pay gap is slowly narrowing, but women are still paid on average about 30% less than men. In recent years, an anti feminist movement has surged, led by disillusioned young men who argue that they have been disadvantaged by attempts to improve women's lives. Your life is bad because women are just trying to gain some human rights. All right. Appearing to echo such views, Councillor Kim's report concluded that the way to overcome the female domination phenomenon was to improve people's awareness of gender equality so that men and women can enjoy equal opportunities. But that's exactly what women have been wanting this whole time. They just want to be equal. But them having more equal rights is why you're claiming that men are taking themselves out. Like, make it make sense. Koreans took to the platform X to denounce the counselor's remarks as unsubstantiated and misogynistic, with one user questioning whether they were living in a parallel universe. The Justice Party accused the counselor of, quote, easily shifting the blame to women in Korean society who are struggling to escape gender discrimination. It has called on him to retract his remarks and instead properly analyze the causes of the problem. When approached for comment by the BBC, Councillor Kim said he had not, quote, intended to be critical of the female dominated society and was merely giving his personal view about some of its consequences. However, his comments follow a number of unscientific and sometimes bizarre political proposals aimed at tackling some of South Korea's most pressing social issues, including mental illness, gender violence, and the lowest birth rate in the world. Yuri Kim, director of Korean's Women's Trades Union, said that such comments encapsulate just how pervasive misogyny is in South Korea. She accused politicians and policymakers of not even trying to understand the challenges women faced, preferring to scapegoat them instead. And she told the BBC that blaming women for entering the workforce will only prolong the imbalances in our society. So here are my thoughts on this subject. First of all, I want to say no. As a government representative, Councillor Kim Ki-duk has to know the weight that his words carry. Because of his position, his voice is amplified on a countrywide stage. He can't afford to just express his own misogynistic, quote, personal views onto country and worldwide issues. The fact is, he didn't expect the backlash his hateful words received, so he defaulted to weaponized incompetence, pretending he was just misunderstood and didn't really mean exactly what he said. Declarations like it's women's fault that men are quitting the planet at a time where there is so much tension between the sexes is irresponsible at best and dangerous at worst. A very similar statement was made in Germany long ago to justify the dehumanization, hatred, and abuse of certain groups. That's why we have to be careful with these unsubstantiated claims. Words like his put a target on the backs of unsuspecting women and girls, and it helps to justify their harm and mistreatment. I wanted to also mention that in 2017, a study was conducted by the Korean Institute of Criminology, which found that out of 2,000 South Korean men, 80% of them, or 8 out of 10, admitted to using violence against their girlfriends during the dating period. If their society is becoming more, quote, female dominant because women are opting out of that relationship dynamic, living more on their own, going to school, getting jobs, are they wrong for practicing self preservation? Are they wrong for choosing to go 4B and deciding not to marry males who have anger and impulse control issues, who are misogynist, and have low emotional intelligence? Like, what are these men doing to be the best partners? That's not addressed by the government. Like the article said, males globally are self deleting at high rates, so it is ridiculous to blame South Korean women or women in general. Also, South Korea has a notoriously harsh work culture with very long and stressful hours. Their school system is highly competitive. Their standards of beauty are also well known to be near impossible for men and women alike to meet, which is why they're one of the world's plastic surgery capitals. As well, homosexuality was only decriminalized in 2003, yet today, people who identify with the label still face discrimination, bullying, and judgment in the country. Not only that, but the self deletion studies compared 2018 to 2023 numbers. Keep in mind that 2018 was a pre Panini and 2023 is a post Panini world. A lot happened to people globally during that time, including job losses, people broke up, and mental health issues increased. Surely any of these factors would have more honestly explained why men are self deleting in that country, but that would demand that the government look at itself and the culture it created. Ultimately, it would require accountability. Changes would need to be made at the governmental and societal levels, which, let's just be honest, these people are not prepared to do. Guess it was just so much easier to throw all the women under the bus. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.